Devlog number 24. I was just messing with my code to see if I could get it to video capture better. I changed nothing and it's deciding to behave well today. So we can enjoy a nice smooth frame rate right now. I don't know why. I need to debug some of my graphics code somehow. But if it's not showing the problem, then I can't do that. Anyway, let me talk about what I did. I did some stuff. You had my usual fixing of all the little problems I found in the last devlog. Might not have gotten 100% of them. Some of them are part of a larger thing, but I fixed all the little ones. Like I'm wiggling my right stick now and my cursor's not flashing, so that one's fixed. Alright, so nothing changed this screen, nothing changed this screen, but here... So my plan going into this, like, a 3-week unit of work that I'm doing now was to replace all the stuff up here on this screen and on the battle screen. I got this screen at least. So I have a whole new thing up there that shows a little summary of whichever champion I'm pointing at. It should show the tile too. Yeah, so maybe like a little separate side pop-up for tile info. That's fine. That can come eventually. Yeah, so this thing up here is reasonably done and polished, I think. So it shows the large champion portrait. I'd like to get the champion icon in there somehow. Oh, I should have the champion name. Okay, I know exactly what to do. I put the champion name and its icon above this. Is there space above? If I go to the UI limit stress test, UI limit stress test, UI limit stress test, UI limit stress test, that goes all the way to there. If I move this down, there's space to move this down, but if I go to the battle screen, whoa, why? Ooh, interesting. Okay, so there's a little dead space in between tiles where if my cursor is there, what shows up here defaults back to what the gamepad is pointing at when I'm in mouse move mode. So I point at the crack between tiles and then nothing shows up. Except it's a little off center. Whoa. Wait, no, it's not. No, that's exactly what I would expect. Yeah, okay. However, I don't think that's correct. Like clicking here should probably count as clicking one of those tiles. No reason to make the click zone unnecessarily small. Okay, so that could use a little polish, I guess. Anyway, right, so space. I can move this down a little bit. Yeah, see, okay, so let me talk about what's actually in that thing. So test scenario, go back here. Right, so in this little view, I color it this way for enemies, I color it this way for friends. Got the champion portrait, champion name. Oh, the name's already there. Sure. I mean, do I really want to stick the icon in here somewhere? You can see the icon if you go into this menu if you want to. Anyway, so I have resources. We got health, energy, etc. These just lay out the best they can in here. Action grid. You have no sensible actions put in here. I just put in some nonsense that doesn't make any sense. So if we give you a real action grid, sure, let's pretend this is ever going to be relevant. It just expands to whatever is there. I'll show you what happens if it goes outside these bounds in a moment. Oh, and it shows equipment over here. So stuff that's equipped, resources, actions, and name and portrait thing. So that seemed like all of the quickly accessible information that I needed to. Now, I also fixed up the interactions with the stuff on the, what do I call this thing? Battlefield layout view is my name for it. So there used to be a whole bunch of clicks here to get to any information. Now it's down to just one. So if I, let me go to a clearer battlefield here. I can do that with this. Yes. So if I interact with an enemy, it goes straight to, what do I call this? Champion detail list view, I think. So yeah, if you want more detail on what you see up here, so you know, this thing has 8 health, it takes those actions. I can see the exact actions in all the detail here. Equipment slots, if you care, abilities. So all that stuff is here. With one click I get there. And if I want the tile info, if I want to know about the dirt that the imp is standing on, that's just stuck at the bottom here. I want to have some kind of way of separating this from the rest. Maybe not in this list, but in another place it'll make more sense. Yeah, if this had a list of properties, you might need to know about those. Anyway, so if I click on an empty tile, I now get a list of my available champions, as well as the tile, if I want to see it there. Yeah, like this one really needs some kind of divider here. I'm not sure how to do it. But dirt is not a champion that I can add to the list. But I can add a warrior. So I still do have, okay, so 1, 2, 3 clicks to add a warrior. And then I can remove here. I think it is useful to go into the sub-menu to inspect the thing you're adding. So I think it'll stay that way, and it still just works out like, open this encounter, press the button to start, press the button to open, press the button to add the first champion, press the button to actually add it, and then press to start equipping it. So again, this doesn't go into move mode. I can still go into move mode with the alternate menu button, or if I go to this menu and choose reposition. So this is a new item in this sub-menu here. But that's an infrequent action, so it can be hidden away in a menu behind a few inputs, rather than the very first thing that happens when I want to click on a champion, and usually probably want to inspect actions or equipment, so that's why these are at the top. I've thought about reversing these, but again, equipment does make sense to be the second one because I want it to happen outside the screen. I just don't have that implemented yet. Like default equipment on champions. Whenever you bring a warrior, he'll come equipped with a sword, for example. But I just don't have a system for that yet. I have armor here because I've cleared a bunch of stuff in this encounter. Let me actually reset this scenario. I think that's what I want to do. So reset progress here. Because there's some stuff on the battle screen I want to show. Right, so imp on grass, as expected, so add warrior. Right, so inspect if you want before adding all this stuff. Equip the sword, equip the potion, assign the actions, attack, potion. The more I work with this test scenario, the more I realize my my setups just really aren't that interesting. I've memorized... Honestly, the solution to this encounter is the exact same as... Well, the solution to these two encounters is the exact same. Just have your warrior attack, then potion some number of times, and have the mage cast fire on everybody. That's all that needs to happen. Anyway, real interesting puzzles will come later. Okay, yeah, and that's it. So yeah, like, one click to get here, one more to get to actions, and then you're right here doing the... Are these supposed to have tooltips? That has a rollover tooltip, but not one for... This does not... What happened to my tooltips? This has them. I thought I had them here, too. I have one. I mean, two, because that one will have one, too. But it doesn't show when I point at it with the gamepad. Also, oops, also this is overlapped by the menu cursor. Oof, okay, so tooltip behavior here is gross. I don't like it. Yeah, okay, so tooltips are broken on this pop-up. I should think about that someday. This whole pop-up is going to get redone, though. I don't entirely like the way it is. Anyway, so yeah, I reduced the number of clicks here, and it's much nicer. So let's go into a battle. This stuff is still here, but it's changed a little bit. Can I still interact with it? With the mouse I can, but the gamepad actually can't point at it anymore. I don't have a way to move the cursor there, because these are no longer supposed to be interactive. However, I now can point at the battlefield here, and get to the same menu here with a little bit of extra information. So we got the actions and stuff. This menu looks weirdly skinny. Just because it automatically fits to what's in there and none of the text is very long. But anyway, if you want to inspect anything mid-battle, you can do that. So, right, 6 out of 6 health. Step forward. So, you know, this thing's lost a little bit of health now, 6 out of 8. I've thought a lot about putting the information just in the text here. I've done it for this. This thing is new, by the way. I had a problem where there was information that was not shown, which is a champion's current position in the turn gauge, like how much their gauge has charged up for their turn. I have the information being shown here, but it's messy and kind of broken. Like, what's 5? 5 just happens to be the highest speed value of any champion in this current combat. Therefore, it's the top of the speed gauge, so anybody who charges up to gauge value 5 will be the next to go. This one's currently at 0, but like, you're at 5 out of 5, you're at 0 out of 5. Now that it's Imp's turn, 5, 5, 5, 5, yeah, so this one's gauge is charged back up. And there are times when I can see something like 10 out of 5, for example, because the gauge can overcharge and it empties. There's a system for this. The information is technically here, but now that I've put just the raw information, I'm noticing that it's exposing a lot of stuff, like underlying mechanics that don't make any sense to expose that way. So this was going to take a lot more polish, but at least the value of the turn gauge is viewable in a way here. So anyway, work in progress there. Don't worry too much about it. Anyway, yeah, so the idea is that these will go away in a similar way. Really? A crash? That's fun. Why did that happen? All right, so let's attach a debugger. Oh, right, I don't have LLDB here. Can I GDB? See, on Windows, I don't just get automatically a crash report for stuff like that. All right, well, got a debugger attached now, so I'll see if that happens again. I was doing a lot of stuff here, moving all around. I had a crash once for mouse being over this stuff. Is that still there? Because yeah, I've totally crashed now. Focused element. Remove element. Deactivate. Is it just when my cursor is over this? Over the turn gauge? Okay, well I have some, yes, I have some information about this now. Is it when my cursor is over that? Because I thought I fixed that bug, but now it's happening again? So I move cursor here, I press escape, and it's fine. I press escape and it's fine. Does it have to do with, like, my cursor is here, with my gamepad I press back? Oh boy. Well, at least I caught the bug happening once. I have a stack trace, so that'll help me figure out what that was. Alright, well that's fun. So I got a crash to debug. That's fine. All part of game development. I really don't like that noise. I need to do something about it. Anyway, yeah, so idea is these are going to be replaced in a similar way to what's here. It's complicated to do that though because this has a lot of animation code in it. Like these actually do stuff. This focuses when it's your turn, and then that little shine effect plays. This one has a thing here. Like all those animations need to be re-implemented in some form down here, and like they should all be there. Like there are some animations there. When I take damage, I see a little number fly out. Resource gauges need to pop up like underneath champion portraits or something. I was messing with that a little bit, but I didn't get it to happen nicely just yet. And I do want some pop-ups here. I sort of described how I imagined this working. Something like, okay, got the crash again. So it has nothing to do with mouse over the turn order view. It's something else. All right, well, I think I have a general idea of what that crash is about. So let me just not attach my debugger right now, because I can fix that without too much trouble. I'll just try and avoid... Avoid what? Avoid moving my mouse. Let's do it that way, because it seems like it has to do with the mouse. Let's make that noise a whole bunch. Anyway, yeah, so that's where all that stuff is. Alright, so let me show you another thing. I have I've input a battle setup that will get this done victoriously. So on battle victory now. This was not something I had specifically planned to do at the end of last devlog, but it just sort of happened. When the enemy is defeated and I win, I get this little pop-up here that shows a summary of what happened during the encounter. Encounter was solved. I got 0 points. I have a whole point system planned for this, but I haven't really done a whole lot to make it happen yet. But anyway, so it used to print like a whole bunch of information here. The name of your saved solution, all the rewards you earned, all that stuff. So now that goes in a separate pop-up here, which gives me a nice UI flow for going back to the map with a single button press. So if I press this button, it crashes. Fantastic. This wasn't happening for me a bit ago, but now it's happening. Okay, sure, yeah, I unlocked that. Okay, let me see if I can, again, not move my cursor. Just park it right over there. Let's do that again. So, I go here. I set this up. My guess about that crash is one of my UI elements is being double disposed or something, because I have a system in here where, you know, I have a root UI element that is a container that I can add stuff like these buttons to, this battlefield view, the turn order view, all that. It can be a whole tree of stuff, and I can set it up so that when I dispose that container, all of the contents also get freed, but I can also manually free them. I probably just have two things disposing the same memory at once. Alright, so I can just go straight to end. That'll open the pop-up. I'm going to return to map, and there we go. So it puts my cursor right here on the next encounter, shows the unlock button, and if I just press the button, I go straight in here. And it all makes sense. So that should be very good for game flow. General flow is, you go to whatever encounter's open, get a setup that conquers it, and then the game just sort of ferries you to the next encounter without too much fuss. Alright, so there's some other stuff about that pop-up I want to talk about. Again, yeah, just do this in each of these encounters and you win, and that's all it takes. Let's see, if I do this, it's quieter. It just sort of does stuff without playing the sounds and things. Step forward, you take a hit, you die. So if I don't return to map, I can either press escape or just go to review battle. That's what I've called it. Either way, this closes. Okay, so new solution saved. It's just named with the date and time right now. Maybe sometime I'll come up with a better way to describe that, but this string right here is going to match what I see on the solution list if I go back to the map screen. Anyway, so earned equipment, earned spell. So review battle just takes me back to this screen in case I want to see more details about what happened there, or replay the battle or whatever. And this is obviously very temporary, but if I want to get back to that pop-up again, I can press the star button right here, and it'll just reopen it. Because it has some information like what equipment I earned, what the solution name is, how many points I got, that's not shown on this screen right now. And if I just go back from here without pressing the return to map button, it's probably going to crash. Yeah, okay. So I definitely have a crash going on there. It's fine. It get in the way a little bit, but I can work around it. Yeah, so anyway, two different ways to leave the battle screen, either by return to map or just backing out normally. And yeah, returning to map skips the encounter setup screen on the way out because you don't need to mess with it anymore because you have a full solution. Right, and if I go here to the solutions, this is the string that showed up in the victory pop-up with the number of points I got, which is still 0. Again, point system hasn't gotten any attention yet. It'll be a thing eventually. Let's see. What else did I want to show? The one other thing was that right, so let's go over to... Where do I want to do this? Let's do it here first. Alright, how much stuff can I equip here? 5 things? Perfect. Okay, so there's only room here for 4 pieces of equipment. There's only room here for like 6 actions, I think. There's only room here for, depends how many digits are in your resource values, but somewhere between 2 and 4 resources. So what happens if you have too many things to fit? I'm going to equip a sword on my mage. Mage can equip spells, that's why I'm choosing you instead of the warrior. I'm going to equip armor, so sword and armor have shown up there. I'm going to equip a potion, sword, armor, potion. I'm going to equip fire spell, sword, armor, potion, fire. Now let's equip venom spell, sword, armor, potion, ... So if 4 can fit, it shows 4. If there's more than 4, it shows 3 and then shows a little thing to demonstrate that, hey, there's something more. If you want to see what that is, go inspect the champion in this menu and you can see the full list here. I think that's probably the most sensible thing to do. Just say, there is more to see, I can't show it all in this little summary, go to the full list, etc. And if this needs more space than will fit on screen, then it will scroll. That's not implemented yet, but that will be what happens eventually. So with actions, keep attacking until it doesn't fit anymore, and so the right side of the loop marker doesn't draw here. I get these purple brackets here, but this one is hidden because the end is off screen, and you get some vertical dots here. This should be centered left 1 more pixel. I meant to do that, but I didn't. And same thing for the resources. I can't show it in this scenario, but if I go over to my UI limit stress test, UI limit stress test, UI limit stress test, UI limit stress test, actually doing its job now. Right, this is the full bounds of the map. Very long encounter name, haven't dealt with this yet. That'll probably just have like a very long encounter ... here is probably what'll happen. Then where will you get to inspect the full encounter name? There, maybe. Yeah, okay, so this doesn't scroll yet. It just goes off screen, but it will scroll eventually. What if this has to ... What if it's wider than that? I don't know. Those are questions for me to answer later. But anyway, if I go to here, I have some champions here with more resources now. So Imp has 8 health, 500 energy, and something more. The something more is 1,000 of resource 3 and 1,000 of resource 4. However, this Imp, in my second encounter, the space filler, has 1 of each. So you see that if the number of digits is small enough that this can fit, it'll draw as many as will fit. There's still more. So I can go here to... Okay, right, yeah, so it shows current values here. This Imp arrives with 1 health, 1 energy, 1 resource 3, and 1 resource 4 out of those capacities. Right. And then if I add my own champion here, which I have already, warrior just has health. Okay, sure. So yeah, that's how I dealt with not enough space to show in the summary for any of those. Now, since champion portraits are an arbitrary size, this could technically go up above this. I'm going to be okay with that. If you want to draw a huge graphic that goes way up above this and stretches way up above the battlefield, then sure, it's just going to stretch way up above, and that's fine. I'm pretty sure this is in front of this. No, I'm not. I don't know what the layering order is. This should layer on top of these so that you can't poke your head up here and hide my action grid and stuff. Okay, so I'll make sure that that's how that is. Okay, yeah, so anyway, that's where I am with all that. Lots of stuff in progress, got a crash to fix. That's fun. Surprisingly, that and some minor centering things are the only issues I've spotted today during this devlog. Usually it's a whole lot more. Anyway, yeah, so I think things are getting there. So I took a walk and thought about this project and sort of mapped out what I thought would be like a rough guess at the structure for the remaining work that I have on the project. Using these devlogs sort of as a basis, so thinking of 3-week intervals, units of work that I could get done in that amount of time, and looking at my entire to-do list and seeing what was left on it. I came up with about a year's worth of work remaining on this at the current pace. The thing is, every time I've asked myself this question, I've come up with the same answer, and I've been asking it for a while. So no matter when I check, it seems like there's about a year's worth of work left on this. But now that I have this stuff all mapped out, it does seem plausible that somewhere around a year from now, I could possibly have this game in a releasable state. unless I can find a way to restructure my time and just get a whole lot more work done on it. So that would be nice. But anyway, so I sort of have a clearer roadmap than I've had for where this is going than I did before. So near future stuff. Polishing up all the stuff you saw here, of course. Finishing replacing the... Oh boy, I went to this screen, so it's probably going to crash, and I'm going to move my cursor so it feels even more likely. So replacing these things that aren't supposed to be here. It'll only show one of these on the left, one of these on the right. They'll probably look like something different. I'm going to press cancel, and it's probably going to crash. It didn't. Looks something more like that. And I'll have to redo the animations that show there for that to make sense. But anyway, battlefield is the focus. These just show extra information, and if you want the full information, you go in here and inspect stuff. So I think that makes sense. Other stuff. Once that's done, I can go back to building out the showcase scenario. That cool thing that was so much fun to spend time with that I have not spent any time with lately. This thing here. So yeah, actually getting more encounters in this, doing some puzzle design, and what that will help me do is get a better idea of which game mechanics are working and which need a little bit of tweak to really make sense. I mean, I have my mechanics more or less established, but they're still malleable. I've said a bunch of times that I think this action grid needs to be replaced. I want conditionals in here. I want the enemies not to just follow a rigid script of I'll take exactly this action, then loop here, and this is how it'll be targeted. I want stuff like, hey, if my health is below a certain threshold, then I'm going to switch to this other mode where I take these other actions. And I think stuff like that would allow for a much broader range of puzzle design than just a completely static list of commands that these things execute every time. I could go a long way with a static list of commands, but I want conditionals. Anyway, so I think that's where that's going. Yeah, and that point system, since you get 0 points for every encounter now, I want to figure out how to measure performance in a particular battle. Obvious things would be like how much champion health is left, how much damage you've dealt, how quickly you got the thing done, stuff like that. I don't know if I'll go to the extent of... Is this a winning solution? No. Definitely not. I don't know if I'll go to the extent of... oh, by the way, right. So if I go back here, I'll finish what I was saying. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten it. So if we go to this solution, start battle, end. So this is what the victory pop-up looks like if I've already solved a thing. Instead of saying new solution saved, it just says solution name. So this is the name to look for if you want to get back to the solution on the setup screen. It'll show you how many points you got, but I didn't earn any rewards because this was not newly solved. Anyway, yeah, so I don't know if I'll go to the extent of having Zachtronics-style graphs down here measuring different types of performance. I might, though. It's something I've thought about. Because I want there to be sort of a metagame here of optimizing encounters and trying to figure out a way to maximize the amount of points you've gotten on it. Online leaderboards are in the plans for this, definitely. So you can see what your score was, what your last score was if you just overwrote one, and what the top score is, who's gotten it, stuff like that. But that's fairly nebulous, definitely in the idea phase there. First comes figuring out what's a sensible way to measure the points, the performance, and that information will come to me by doing some puzzle design on the showcase scenario so that I know what makes sense to measure. So yeah, that's how that leads into all that stuff. Anyway, yeah, so I got a whole bunch of other tasks mapped out beyond that, so I kind of have a good idea of what I'm doing with this game now. I needed to do that a long time ago. I've done it now. And yeah, hopefully over the next few devlogs I can at least come close to sticking with my plan. Plans like that always take longer than they're planned for. So unless I get incredibly lucky, I'm either going to have to cut scope on some things, or I guess take longer than another year to finish this, or find some time in my schedule to spend more time on this and accelerate things. I don't know. One of those things will probably happen. All right, cool. I'll see you next time.